Obama administration. Joel, it's good to see you. How could this hostage rescue operation impact the larger war, and especially those ceasefire negotiations?
Yeah, Anna, it's great to be with you. This was a remarkable rescue, and what it does is it does give confidence to the Israeli people that their military, that the IDF can rescue Israelis. But the hard, cold reality is that the best way to get the hostages out is to have a deal. That's what we saw back in November, where a significant amount of hostages, dozens, were released. There are now still 120 individuals, the majority, we hope, alive, as well as many deceased there. And this means that the deal that President Biden put forward is the one that needs to go through. That's the one that will allow for a continued release of hostages. It's very unfortunate that Hamas has not agreed to this. We see the results. Israel is going to continue to search for their people. They're going to continue to conduct operations like the ones that we saw over the weekend. And that had a high cost for the Palestinian people. And so Hamas, it is really playing dangerous games with its own people right now in Gaza.
And you point out that it's unknown exactly how many hostages are still alive, how many may be deceased and still in Hamas custody. NBC News has this exclusive reporting that Raf mentioned that the Biden administration has discussed potentially negotiating unilaterally with Hamas to free U.S. hostages. Such negotiations would not include Israel, would be conducted through Qatari intermediaries. Do you think the U.S. should go this route? And what would it mean for the U.S.-Israel relationship?
Well, we've got, I believe, a half a dozen American citizens there, and this president is committed to getting Americans out wherever they may be. And if his proposal now for this ceasefire deal, which gets hostages out, does not move forward, then he should, yes, go forward with trying to get Americans out as well. But that would not preclude the deal overall. The idea is to get a ceasefire that brings stability to Gaza, ends the suffering of the Palestinian people, and ultimately moves Hamas out of power. And that's why we're seeing the dynamics now as well in Israeli politics. Minister Gantz left the coalition government over the weekend largely because he's concerned that there's not a day after plan for stabilizing Gaza and preventing an insurgency and keeping Hamas out of power. And so now this is in the political arena as well in Israel. So very good idea for the United States to go our own way if we need to, but that does not mean that the issues will be resolved overall.
Right. No end in sight, I think, is the fear right now for so many people who are personally affected, as well as the broader region and the U.S. seeing where things are headed. Secretary Blinken is there, beginning his 8th diplomatic mission to the Middle East since October 7th today. What goals do you think he has for this trip?
I think first and foremost, the Secretary is going to reiterate the importance, the crucial importance of getting Hamas to agree to what the president proposed. Secretary Blinken's going to go to Egypt as well and to Israel and Jordan and meet with the Qataris. These are our allies right now in getting this deal done. And of course, he's then going to have to take the temperature of this new government. As Raf mentioned, it's going to be different. Now, Minister Gantz, he was in the war cabinet. He was not part of the governing coalition. So while he moves out of war cabinet decision-making role, the government still maintains it as it was prior to his departure. But this is a very right-wing government, and so Gantz is looking to see if he can move the politics there, and I think the Secretary is going to try to gauge whether or not that's going to happen.
Joel Rubin, I always appreciate your insights and expertise.
Thanks, Anna,
for taking the time. And now to Europe.